Asian zombie cinema in 2025 continues to set the standard for the genre. Fast outbreaks, brutal action, and emotional storytelling make these titles completely addictive. Today, we're counting down the 7 strongest Asian zombie movies and series you can stream right now on major platforms. Stay until the end, because the final spot reveals a brand new zombie hit coming in 2026. You definitely don't want to miss this. Outside. When darkness falls and drawn-out moans can be heard in the distance, the Abel family knows there is no turning back. The city fell faster than anyone expected, and people transformed by the virus into wild, mindless beasts flooded the streets like a wave washing away everything in its path. Francis, his wife Iris, and their sons Joshua and Lucas flee to Francis's father's old farm hidden deep among the sugarcane plantations. The place that was supposed to be a refuge quickly begins to resemble a cage. The walls of the house hide memories and secrets that were never meant to see the light of day. Francis's difficult childhood, emotional wounds in his marriage, and even the truth about the origin of one of the boys. As night approaches, the tension rises, and the sounds of approaching zombies break in like a knife. The Abels are faced with a choice: face their own fears, or let the past destroy them faster than what awaits outside shows that sometimes the most dangerous monsters lie within, not outside the door. Available on Netflix. Elixir. In a remote Indonesian village, a family running a huge herbal empire announces a discovery that will change the world. Their new elixir is said to stop aging and restore youth, and interest is growing faster than they can produce it. Behind the scenes, however, there are secrets, tensions, and greed that have been building up in this family for years. Everything spirals out of control when the patriarch, tired of illness and obsessed with time, decides to test the elixir on himself. The experiment ends in a nightmare. Instead of healing, mutation occurs, and within hours the factory and nearby village are transformed into a place of screams, panic, and the living dead. The infected are fast, violent, and driven only by hunger. The family, which has been destroying itself from within for years, suddenly has to work together, fight for their lives, and face the consequences of their own pride. Elixir shows that the greatest monsters are often born of human ambition, and the desire for eternal youth can be the beginning of the end. Available on Netflix. Newtopia. Seoul turns into a battlefield as a mysterious epidemic breaks out with full force, and the first victims are ordinary residents returning home from work. In this escalating disaster, 2 former partners are separated at the worst possible moment. Ja-yoon, a soldier on duty at the top of an air defense tower, watches from above as the city descends into chaos. A plane crashes into downtown Seoul, the streets are flooded with infected crowds, and communication ceases to exist. Young-ju, an engineer starting a new job, initially tries to save herself, but when she realizes that Jae-yoon may be cut off and alone, she sets off through the deserted neighborhoods where every turn could be a trap. Her journey becomes a desperate attempt to find a glimmer of hope in a city that has ceased to function. Newtopia intertwines horror, absurdity, unexpected humor, and real emotions, showing that even in a world full of monsters, it is relationships between people that determine who survives. Available on Prime Video. Ziam. The city descends into chaos when a sudden epidemic begins turning people into fast, dangerous zombies, and an ordinary day turns into a brutal fight for survival. At the center of the story is Singh, a former Muay Thai champion who wanted a peaceful life with Rin, a devoted doctor working at a local hospital. Everything falls apart when a contaminated shipment of fish arrives at the hospital, and patients transform into aggressive monsters within minutes. The building is cut off, Rin is trapped inside with a little boy named Buddy, and panic turns the corridors into a maze of screams and death. Singh sets out to rescue her, returning to skills he never wanted to use again. His path is a series of exhausting clashes between man and a wild, unstoppable force, and every blow and every step brings him closer to his beloved. Ziam combines intense action, brutal hand-to-hand combat, and the claustrophobic atmosphere of survival horror, proving that determination can be more powerful than any epidemic. Available on Netflix. Before we move on, a question nobody wants, but everyone must answer. 4 apocalypses, 4 nightmares. Which one would you survive the longest? Number 1, a world where zombies are fast, wild, and relentless. Number 2, a nuclear wasteland, no water, no food, heat like hell. Number 3, a world ruled by intelligent mutants hunting at night. Number 4, a world of total silence. Something tracks you by sound, and one mistake kills you. Type the number or name of your hell in the comments. Let's see who among you truly has the survival instinct. Happiness. When a mysterious infection begins to spread across Korea, the government declares a state of emergency, and the residents of Seoul are cut off from the rest of the country. In the chaos, Sae-bom, a tough special forces police officer, and Yi-hyun, a former athlete and detective, find themselves in a newly built apartment building, which is supposed to be their new start. Instead of peace, however, they find a nightmare. The building is quarantined, and the first infected begin to behave like predators driven by a desire to attack and unbridled aggression. With each passing hour, the tension between the residents grows as they reveal their worst and best sides in the confined space. The characters try to maintain order while hiding their own fears and suspicions of possible infection. The outside world ceases to exist, and survival depends on fragile alliances, courage, and trust. Happiness proves that sometimes the most dangerous thing is not the disease, but the people who fear it more than anything else. Available on Netflix. Zomvivor. The city is living at its own pace when suddenly a disaster strikes, changing everything in a matter of minutes. A mysterious virus begins to spread rapidly, and those infected undergo a violent transformation into fast, aggressive creatures who care about only one thing: getting their hands on anyone who is still breathing. In the midst of the outbreak is a group of survivors, a motley crew of misfits who find themselves in a program resembling a brutal game of survival. Cameras follow their every move, the rules change from hour to hour, and the organizers treat the chaos as a spectacle. The participants must fight not only hordes of infected, but also each other, because trust becomes a scarce commodity, and every mistake can cost them their lives. Over time, they discover that what surrounds them is not just a reality show, but an experiment in which the stakes are much higher. Zomvivor shows a world where survival requires cunning, instinct, and courage, and the biggest monster is not always the one that looks like a zombie. Available on Netflix. Zombieverse. Seoul is suddenly plunged into chaos when a fictional reality show world turns into a full-scale simulation of a zombie apocalypse. The participants, convinced that they are taking part in a regular entertainment program, find themselves in the middle of a staged epidemic outbreak where each task is designed to test their instincts, reflexes, and mental resilience. Actors, extras, and perfectly prepared sets create a realistic maze full of dangers, and the participants must make quick decisions to survive each stage. They face attacks from fast zombies, try to escape from a supermarket full of traps, squeeze through ruined streets, and discover that key tasks require cooperation, which is often lacking in stressful situations. The program balances on the edge of survival and black humor, showing how ordinary people react when the world around them falls apart. Zombieverse is a show that proves that even in apparent fun, fear can be real, and the survival instinct awakens faster than anyone thinks. Available on Netflix. And now, before we move on to the final film I mentioned at the beginning, here's a quick guide in case a real zombie outbreak ever happens. A few simple rules that might save your life if one day you hear something outside your window that isn't just the wind. If a zombie outbreak ever happens, don't panic and don't lock yourself inside your home. Many people believe that fighting or hiding in buildings will keep them safe, but that's a trap that actually makes the infection spread much faster. In moments like this, every mistake can be deadly. So, what should you do to survive? The smartest move is to evacuate the city immediately instead of barricading yourself indoors. Head toward the mountains. Up there, you'll find better cover, more natural hiding spots, and terrain that zombies struggle to climb. Remember, in an apocalypse, survival isn't about fighting the hardest, but about making the right decisions in the first minutes of chaos. And if you want more guides like this, write the word guide in the comments, and the next ranking will include the next chapter. And now, here comes the announced new release, Night Patrol. At one point, a routine night shift in Los Angeles turns into something much darker for an experienced police officer. During routine interventions, he begins to uncover traces of the activities of a local special unit, which is officially supposed to protect the city, but in reality hides a dangerous secret. The deeper he delves into the case, the clearer it becomes that something is happening in his home neighborhood that no one wants to talk about. Disappearances, intimidation, and traces of illegal operations indicate that someone is operating above the law, and the residents are paying the highest price for it. Torn between loyalty to his uniform and the need to uncover the truth, the cop begins to risk his own life to expose the mechanism of control and violence hidden just beneath the city's surface. This is the story of a man who stands alone against the system, knowing that the only chance to save his community is to see the case through to the end, regardless of the consequences.